And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Another week, another brand new week of shows. And it's going to be a short week of shows coming up this week, too, with all the holidays coming up, too. And a happy early Thanksgiving to everybody out there, too, in radio podcast land. We're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, out there at honkytonktexas.us. Check out our sponsors' information there at bangtail.com, easyliquor.com. You can definitely get a purchase in, get the bottle sent to your door for the holidays. And, of course, check out all the cool stuff coming to honkytonktexas.us out there. And pleased to say, of course, we're out there too in Radio Land once again. KKTC 99.9 Pure Country in New Mexico and Colorado, LMNOC Broadcasting, and of course out there hightidecountry.net and powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. Pleased to welcome in my featured artist of the day. The EP is called Love All In. We all need to do that to make love a part of our life and go all in. As Shantell Ogden joins us here on the show. Shantell, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for inviting me on today.
Well, I appreciate you being with us. And, of course, happy holidays early to you right now. And, of course, the family out there. So I want to know a little bit of your backstory at the top. And I always like to do this to kind of set the tone for the show because I may know a lot and definitely read a lot as an artist out there, too, and get to know you. But for the fans that don't know Shantell as the artist, kind of tell us a little bit upbringing and kind of that hometown feel growing up and when kind of music connected with you from a young age.
Great question. And I think Shantell the person is very much Shantell the artist as well, because I grew up on a farm in rural Utah and grew up third generation farm. And so the rural lifestyle was very much that hard work was part of my life growing up. And then really heavily involved in riding horses and doing high school rodeo and all those fun things. So I definitely, country music is who I am. I grew up that way and I love it. And I think my early love of music really comes from my family always having it on. My mom played piano. My dad and grandpa sang really off key. But we just always had it on. And it was whether we were working with the cows or if we were headed on the mountain to ride, or if we were going down the road to a rodeo, we always had music on. And I think I just grew up loving stories and loving those story songs.
Why is it important out there? And I know this probably is different for all artists out there too when it comes to the answers we're looking for with this question. But looking back at it, I can kind of think along the same lines as to why you guys do what you do. Of course, I know this from doing the show that I do here, but for the casual fan out there that may not listen to country all the time, why is it so important for you guys to make somebody laugh, think, and cry through your music?
So I think music is emotion, and that is my job as an artist and as a songwriter is to help people to connect with those emotions. So we've all had that experience of listening to a song and going, man, that's me. That's what I've been trying to say. Right. And so that experience is really what I try to do with my songs, whether it's, making people pause and think about something, or if it's just making them smile or laugh. I think that's what a good song does. And really, everybody's had that experience of having a song touch them. And that's the beauty of music, is it goes way beyond just sitting down and telling someone something. It moves us in a different kind of way.
Growing up, was it some of those 90s country artists that kind of set the tone for you a little bit into the early, maybe part of 2000s? What was your era? Who did you listen to?
Yeah. So, I started listening young, early and often, so it was George Strait, it was Martina, it was Garth Brooks. It was all those big 90s country artists that I listened to, kind of growing up. And, in later years, I've had the opportunity to open for some of those bands like Sawyer Brown and Colin Ray and Aaron Tippin and Sammy Kershaw. And that's been just amazing for me, because after I have opened for them, I've been able to get in the crowd and sing along to every song, because those are the songs that I grew up listening to. So I really think that, there are artists today that are kind of bringing back some of those real strong storytelling roots, like Chris Stapleton. Certainly Lainey Wilson is another one who's really good at storytelling and her songwriting. And so I want to see that come back, of course. But I think most people, that's one of the reasons they love country music, is because it has that kind of connectedness that other genres don't have as much.
Big week for country music, too. Of course, Wednesday night, the CMA Awards coming up this week, hosted by Peyton Manning of Music Sports. There it goes, too. Grand Slam of both there, too. And, of course, the great Luke Bryan out there, too. You going to be watching? You excited?
I'm going to be watching. One of these days, I'm going to go to it because I am a CMA member, but
right.
haven't made it yet to the show. But I am going to be watching.
You made me think about that, too, because how I think for the first time in a long time, and I think every decade had its own history, its own story behind it, too. But at the same time, I think that there's a lot out there, too, when it comes down to now. You mentioned those names, Lainey and Lindsay L., and, of course, Ashley McBride, Carly Pierce. This female movement of country we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years. This is powerful and impactful for the industry, would you say?
Absolutely. So when I first moved to Nashville in 2005, I worked a little bit in country radio.
Mm-hmm.
And back then it was almost 100% men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, very rarely we would see females be even in the top 40. So I'm really excited about this resurgence to kind of equal out the playing field a little bit, just from a musical artist perspective, right? To be able to listen to women and men sing on the radio, I think is really fun. And I think it gives you a broader range of emotion and a broader perspective.
What do you enjoy most about performing live on stage? What's your favorite part?
Wow, that's tough. But I think, looking out into the audience and seeing someone have a reaction of some kind, you can see an emotion that washes over their face. And sometimes that means a tear will come to their eye. And sometimes that means that you can see them replaying something in their life. And I think that connection is really why I perform. I write songs because I feel like I have something that I want to say or something that I want to share. But I perform songs because I want to make that connection and I want to give that connection to people, hopefully through my songs.
Well, I think you've done that with the latest EP for you guys. I mean, definitely came out August 25th. If you guys haven't checked it out, Love All In, the current EP from Shantell Ogden. We're going to take a quick break, come back. She's going to perform from that very record out there, too, which is across all the digital platforms. That's how old I sound, too, with 90s Country Record. They're now digital platforms and streaming, but it's still an EP, and it's an album out there, too. But I guess I can use the term record because I still collect, like, vinyl and stuff like that, which I do love. So it is a record in a form of a EP out there, too, as well, and a streaming EP at that, wherever you guys download music, Love All In, and, of course, ChantellOgden.com. For more information out there, too, as well on Shantell. And, of course, music videos and a whole lot to see out there, too. We got to take a quick time out. Our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out. It's the holiday season coming up. We all want to drink. Do it safe, as I always say here on the show. But if there's one thing you should put in your glass to mix with your cocktails and things out there, it is bangtail.com. And, of course, our friends over at easyliquor.com. Get out there and check out our friends at honkytonktexas.us. We're back here in a flash here. More with Shantell Ogden. It's hightidecountry.net. And powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. You can also check us out beginning this week. Also out there, KKTC Pure Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and our friends in the southern part of Pueblo, Colorado. More with Shantell here on the show. Coming back. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And, of course, now you can check us out on KKTC Pure Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. Just beautiful stations out there, beautiful part of the country. Love the West Coast. In fact, I'll be heading out to Arizona over the next few weeks, do some hiking, and just my favorite time of the year with the holidays coming up. The weather's turned for us down here, especially in Texas and Oklahoma and Colorado, New Mexico, so I love going west. Back here with Shantell Ogden on the show, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com and out there at hightidecountry.net, a streaming station in Oklahoma. You can check us out too, and KKTC Pure Country 99.9 New Mexico, Taos, and of course out there in the southern part of Colorado, all a part of LMN OC Broadcasting. Excited to join them going into 2024. So I'll tell you what, you've got a lot of cool things on this album. I mentioned it was like a throwback Leanne Womack kind of feel to it for Love All In. I want you definitely to perform. I've got a request out there too, but I know you probably got a couple you had in mind to do, but definitely you know which one I'm talking about too as well from this record that makes it really shine. It really does.
Oh, thank you. Well, I thought tomorrow I'm releasing a video for how to make a cowgirl. And I thought
Okay.
I'd
All right.
play that song because literally tomorrow the new video is dropping.
How about
And so I just announced that on Facebook. So I would love for y'all to go on to YouTube to check it out. And it'll also be airing on the Heartland Network and a couple other places. So you'll probably see it around, but would love to have you check that video out, and I'll play that one for you live.
Here we go. It's all yours.
Here we go. Take a wide open heart and a front porch dream. Sprinkle in some get up and go and that porch swing. Drive for adventure beneath the western sky, and a rowdy little rescue dog along for the ride. A whole lot of chucked and wrapped and gray, easy to love and hard to break. Takes a stargazer barrel racer covered in denim and pearls. Ooh, that's how you make a cowgirl. Ooh, a shined up truck, revved up and ready to roll, and a red dirt song blaring on the radio. Drive for adventure beneath the western sky, and a rowdy little rescue dog along for the ride. A whole lot of tough wrapped up in gray, it's easy to love and hard to break. Takes a stargazer barrel racer covered in denim and pearls. Ooh, that's how you make a cowgirl. Ooh, get your freedom, dash of hope. Love her if you wanna, and she won't care if you don't. No, she won't. A whole lot of tough wrapped up in gray, it's easy to love and hard to break. Takes a stargazer barrel racer covered in denim and pearls. Ooh, that's how you make a cowgirl. Ooh, that's how you make a cowgirl.
I love that it's fun, loving, free, and easy. That's how I describe your music too, and great storytelling back here on the Backstage Pass. Shantell Ogden joining us here again. Check her out with the EP across out there, Love All In, and of course that comes out tomorrow. Beautiful song there too from Shantell. As we're back here, KKTC 99.9 Pure Country in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado, and of course powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com, and out there too at HighTideCountry.net. We got to take a time out, of course, another break for our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, the official whiskey of the Backstage Pass. And if you're making those holiday drinks, please include our friends out there too, EasyLiquor.com. Order that Bangtail from there. I've now invaded the Texas market, so you can go there and get your whiskey on with our friends over at Bangtail.com. And of course at Honky Tonk Texas out there too, honkytonktexas.us. Texas, little hidden jewel down here in Silsbee, where a lot of the great performers come down here and play. In fact, Randall King and Wayne Toops and a lot of big-time artists have been down here to play Honky Tonk Texas. We're coming back here on the show. Quick timeout. A word from our sponsors. Stay tuned back here on KKTC 99.9 Pure Country in Taos and Pueblo, Colorado. And, of course, their friends at HighTideCountry.net and the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, KKTC 99.9 Pure Country. And, of course, our friends out there, too, at the SportsGuysPodcast.com. You can find all the shows there archived if you ever miss one, and out there at HighTideCountry.net. Back here with Shantell Ogden on the Backstage Pass. Love All In, the current EP across all the digital platforms. What a beautiful song you just sang there for us, too. And I love this so much. And off this record, too, I had to ask you about Monday Morning Town, because I love this. This was that throwback one I was kind of referring to with the Leanne Womack kind of feel to it, too. Of course, there's a lot of things you can do dynamically and the versatility that I feel in your voice. How did this one come about, Monday Morning Town?
So Monday Morning Town is a very honest look at the music industry in Nashville. And so I've been in Nashville for 18 years. And I think, it took me 5 years to get my first song recorded by another artist. And I just I think that one thing I've noticed about Nashville, and this used to make me crazy, and I've kind of let go of it now, but that you can take a song to somebody and somebody in the music industry, and they'll listen to it and they'll say, "Oh, that was awesome. I loved it. That was fantastic. That should be cut by somebody." And then you'll take it to somebody else and they'll say, "Nah, I don't like that. You need to change this or that." And I think what it comes down to is everybody's kind of chasing the next big thing. And that's what Monday Morning Town's about. It's about looking for that next big thing. And there's a lot of songwriters in town that had those big hits back in the 90s, and they just can't get arrested anymore, right? They just are really kind of sort of thrown and cast aside by the music industry as not being great writers, but they are. There's so many great writers that are still great writers, because time is a writer's friend. But it's kind of about the next big thing and the next big writer and the next big artist. And that idea of sort of getting replaced and getting pushed out. And those moments in the spotlight are very, very few. So, anyway, that's really what the song's about. Maybe it's a little sad, but I think most people, like even in corporate America, that kind of stuff happens, right? Like you get to a certain level in your career and you're kind of in that place, in the top person seat for a while, and then you retire and you kind of move on and somebody else comes back. So it's about honoring that journey that you take through that space.
You bring up a good point there. You mentioned 18 years there in town, and I heard it, a lot of times I'm up there covering CRS or doing things just in town there in general, just meeting people, have you for the show, networking, marketing, what have you. And still, it's tough. The industry is tough. Like you mentioned, you're only as good as your next song or your EP or your album. It's what have you done for me lately? A lot of that I hear, at least hearsay, a lot of it too, because one thing I've learned is musicians never rest on their laurels. There's always the next project or 20 or 30 songs to go in the can. They're working on the next album. How hard is that to keep up that pace for an artist?
So this is a big challenge. And I don't talk about this a whole lot because I don't want to sound ungrateful for the opportunities that I've had. I do think, so here's what I believe. What I believe is that, so here's what I know. Let me start with what I know. What I know is that 60,000 to 80,000 songs are going on Spotify
Wow.
per week.
Mm.
Okay. So think about the amount of music that's being created. And
Mhm.
so as an artist, you have to be out there doing all the things, right? Which means you need to be doing social media, you need to be writing, you need to be performing, you need to be looking for opportunities for your music to maybe to get placed in film and TV, which that's a whole other side of what I
Mhm.
do. And I think keeping those plates spinning is really a challenge. And fortunately, I've achieved a level in my career where I can have some help with some of that stuff. And I
Mhm.
don't have to do my own PR now because I have Sherry that helps me at
Yeah.
Splash Publicity. And I don't have to do my social media because I have someone that helps me execute it. It doesn't mean that I'm not creating social media. It just means
Sure.
that I'm not doing the hashtags and reformatting it for different platform sizes and, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So that is the challenge, right? And every artist I talk to, if you're an independent artist and you're not part of a label machine, that is the challenge, is keeping all those plates spinning. And it does get tiring. And for me, I just break it down into seasons, right? This is my season of recording. This is my
Mhm.
season of focusing on writing. I'm usually writing all the time, but this is like really when I'm focusing on it. Right now I'm going to focus on family because the holidays are coming
Mhm.
up and it's important, to do that, as you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
spending some time decompressing because you cannot be 100% give all the time. None of us can, right? So, I think that is the biggest challenge. That is
Mhm.
truly, and especially like I'll talk to, you know, it's funny because it's like you'll go to book at these festivals, right? And you'll think, okay, I've had all these credentials, or I've for hit writers, like I've had all these successes,
Mhm.
but they ask what your social media following is.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
some of these people don't even do social media, right? You're like, but they're a hit songwriter. Like they should be playing at Tin Pan South or whatever, right? But that's the challenge, right? So
Mhm.
if you go to book a show, what's your social media following? Which means you need to do booking and social media, right? You got to have a good product or you're not going to be able to compete. You're not going to have anything to sell, So it's just and then there's a whole administrative side of it, which no one even ever talks about, which is how do you track your songs? So if they get airplay on country radio or on secondary radio or
Mhm.
on a podcast or on a streaming site, like how do you collect those small royalties, right? Those point zero 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 one
Mhm.
cents.
It's a
um,
lot. It is a lot too. You're right. You bring up some great
I mean,
points. Yeah.
you probably feel it too. Well,
Every
you were
day. Every day.
talking before the show, it's to do what you do,
Mhm.
you have to do so much. You have the shows, you have the guests, you have the behind the scenes stuff and social media, you have the production, you have the networking, you have the events. Like CRS
Mhm.
is huge, right? And being
Yep.
at CRS and covering that, and you've had some great big names on your podcast, and those things don't just happen, right? You have to chase those opportunities. So
Yeah, that
um,
was,
I know
as you
you get it
guys, yeah.
yourself.
It's a lot of late nights, a lot of emails, a lot of collaboration, and great people like Sherry who make this thing happen. Because when I rolled this out, and this is the same thing that you mentioned, 60 to 80,000 songs go on Spotify, and everybody's looking for that same chance. And it really makes me, and again, I respect everybody out there who's doing this because this is very hard, the podcast land, the radio side of it too. And people may not know what goes on behind the scenes. Even if they do, we're pushing this out. So like this week, I had to get away for like a little trip just to decompress, because decompression, even in podcasting radio, is just as important as you guys as an artist to do that. And I think
Oh,
that's
for
very
sure.
important to do that, because a lot of people where I'm going, they're like, do yoga out there or something to decompress or have a drink or whatever their thing is for their wind down type thing. And for me, it's just a chance to keep doing this. But I love it. And definitely, it just doesn't happen overnight to put together,
Yeah.
like I said, a radio deal or something like that, or to get back and just have all the amazing guests that we've had on the platform here too as well. But I love this record, and it just really, it's so easy to listen to, and I know for you guys, it's so hard sometimes to have a catalog of songs to want to go through 10 or 15 or 20 songs and know what 5 or what 6 are correct for the EP. Was it easy for you on this EP to pick the tracks, or was there some challenges like, you know what, I may not want this one, but I want another one? How difficult was that?
So I love to eat. That's no surprise to anybody out there. And so when I'm thinking about a collection of songs, which an
Mm-hmm.
EP is a small collection of songs, I always try to think about a meal, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what's sweet and easy and fun? What's your meat and potatoes? Maybe what's the Brussels sprouts that you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to share that make this like, maybe Monday morning town for some people on Music Row is kind of a Brussels sprout kind of thing, because it's not the happiest look at the music industry, but it's an honest look at the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, like, that's what I try to do. And I try to think about like hitting on all of those emotions. So there's a song called Let You Go Easy that's about heartbreak. And there's a song about kind of a life perspective song called Life I Left Behind. And
Mm-hmm.
there's, you mentioned Love All In. It's a happy song about just throwing your heart into a new relationship. And so that's kind of how I looked at it. But I could probably write a ballad every day of my life. But I try to when I record songs, I try
Mm-hmm.
to think about like, what's an album that I would want to listen to? Like, what's something that would make me think and make me smile, and I'd want to sing along, and maybe I'd want to think about or
Mm-hmm.
ponder this idea. So that's what I do. And in this collection, I felt like these songs sort of fit together and did that. So that's why I put them together.
Well, it's a beautiful piece of work, and for people that haven't heard your collection of songs on that EP, I invite them to go check it out. And of course, check out shantellogden.com for more information out there for live shows and merch and things of all that nature that you guys can kind of dive into, because I love doing it when I go to shows. So I figure anybody that listens to music shows out there that feature artists such as yourself would love the same thing that I do too, because I always love just learning about new artists, and that's why I started this platform here. Tell you what, we'll take a quick time out here. Let you grab that guitar, come back, perform another song for us. We'll get into a little bit of rapid fire here. We're live on KKTC 99.9 Pure Country out there too in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. And of course, our friends powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com and at hightidecountry.net internet station out of Oklahoma. We'll be back with a break here real quick with you guys here, more with Shantell Ogden here on the show here, our friends at Bangtail Whiskey, and presented by our friends at Honky Tonk, Texas. Coming right back.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And coming up over the next few weeks after the holidays, maybe one or two shows this week, and next week, week off, and definitely through Thanksgiving and back probably November, late November, early December for some shows there back here on the Backstage Pass. Again, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. You can also check us out at hightidecountry.net, and of course out there in Radioland, back at it on the FM side too, at KKTC Pure Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and up there in Pueblo, Colorado, the I-25 corridor. If you're driving through there too, leave us some comments and tell us what you think about the show. Shantell Ogden back here with us. Love All In is the current EP. I'm going to turn it over to you. And what is up next? I can't wait to hear what you got.
So I thought I could do Good Tears, which is another kind of fun song on the record. It's basically a strong girl song, which I think ladies out there will appreciate. And I was just a quick behind the scenes on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving actually out to Arizona, where I spent some winter time in Arizona, and I was with a friend of mine, and we were talking about recent breakups, and I just blurted out, he was just wasted tears. And that was just a whole waste of tears. And my
Mhm,
friend, who's a longtime co-writer of mine, Bill DeLuigi, said,
mhm.
"Oh," he said, that's a song. So we wrote this on this trip, and it's just one gal talking to another, and it's I think most of the ladies will get it.
There we go.
So this is Good Tears. He was hello, darling, charming in a denim jacket. We had high hopes, he was the whole package. That heart of gold was cold when you unwrapped it. No amount of crying gonna make him call. There's a time and a place to let a few fall. Let him pour it down when a friend gets married. Save him up for a Hallmark movie. Just let him flow with the team back home. Take state this year. For when you're laughing until you're hurting. But girl, believe me, he ain't worth it. That man's a waste of good tears. Betting on love and the lotto's kinda dicey. And waterproof Maybelline is getting pretty pricey. Friends, don't let friends stay home on Friday. There's more fish in the sea. After all, there's a time and a place to let a few fall. Let him pour it down when a friend gets married. Save him up for a Hallmark movie. Just let him flow with the team back home. Take state this year. Or for when you're laughing until you're hurting. But girl, believe me, he ain't worth it. That man's a waste of good tears. Just be glad, girl, you had your big cry. You dodged crazy, so dry up those eyes. Till you let him pour down when a friend gets married. Save him up for a Hallmark movie. Just let him flow with the team back home. Take state this year. Or for when you're laughing until you're hurting. But girl, believe me, he ain't worth it. That man's a waste of good tears. Waste of good tears.
I love it there. Good tears, no doubt. And see what happens. You get an idea, makes for a great song. Bill DeLuigi, one of the best out there too in collaboration. And
Yep.
something is definitely born from nothing and creates a great song there. Back here with Shantell Ogden here on the Backstage Pass at 99.9 Pure Country, KKTC in Pueblo, Colorado, and Taos, New Mexico. And of course, out there at hightidecountry.net and powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. All right, rapid fire, my final segment of the show. Love having just a lot of fun with this too. So in the free time, you mentioned a little travel there to Arizona. Is travel, what are some of the other hobbies for Shantell in your free time?
So I spend a lot of time with my dogs. I have 2 dogs that keep me busy, and I golf badly, but I love it.
Okay.
And I think just being outside in nature is another favorite of mine.
Well, at least you golf. At least you try. Because it's been the second time I've played the last 4 years with a buddy of mine coming down for the holidays. He goes, "Let's go hit the links." And I said, "Yeah, we could do that too." And I'm going to be terrible. Like I said, don't even ask for my handicap, but I'll lose a bunch of the balls, but I'll bring 30 and come back with maybe, I don't know, probably 12. So we'll lose 18. And at least we'll try to play 18. We got the cart and everything too.
Yep.
And a lot of fun, but at least going out there and getting the exercise in. That's the most important part. For
Absolutely.
me out there. No, I'm not Tiger Woods and not pretending to be anything out there on the PGA Tour. Any other, I mentioned Grand Slam, sports, music, people that know my show. For you, golf, beside that, do you watch any, if it's college or pro, any kind of sports on television?
I grew up watching, again, this was when I was a little kid growing up. I was an avid jazz fan. So I grew up watching, Karl Malone and John Stockton back in the day. They were they were pretty much the bread and butter of that team for many decades. So, I do kind of keep my eye on the Tennessee Titans.
Mhm.
But I'm not a huge like watch sports all the time type of person. But I do like golf, and I do occasionally watch golf as well.
I love that. Now, with this TNT TBS have put out some holiday movies now. I found myself watching the National Lampoon's, a Chevy Chase movie with all the
Yep, yep,
holidays, and of course, Elf is out there, Home Alone. What
yep.
holiday movies do you enjoy?
I hate to say this, but I've had some of my songs in holiday movies, and
Okay.
so I like watching those movies because I can hear my songs. So there's a great movie called Shoelaces for Christmas that
Mhm.
has some of my songs in it. Um, there is another one called Writing Around the Christmas Tree about an author who gets writer's block, and
Okay.
have a song in that movie. But I will watch the Hallmark movies and the Lifetime movies a lot this season. And I think, real life isn't like that, but we don't watch those movies for real life. We watch them to be entertained and for a happy ending. So I just pretty much love all holiday movies. And we did have the National Lampoons on the other day as well.
Always a funny one too. Classics. And you can imagine still at his age today making mailbox money off those movies, just keep playing them and keep
Oh,
sending the
man,
checks, right?
that's crazy. Crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's when you know a movie is really good when they keep playing it over and over again too, just like a good song out there too at the same time. When it comes to cooking or just takeout, or what do you like to eat?
Oh, I love food. So,
Okay.
I like Indian food, I like Thai, I like meat and potatoes. Growing up on a farm, we pretty much had meat every meal, sausage for
There you
breakfast,
go.
and lots of steak and hamburger and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm pretty much open to most foods. So,
There you go.
not
I'm
not
with
hard
you.
to please, not hard to please at all there.
Right there with you as a foodie too, as well. I was actually in one of the grocery stores the other day, walked out, and I was like, well, I bought the tamales from the fridge, and then they were selling them hot and ready outside. So I ended up getting a couple of dozen, come home, make some eggs, and you got eggs and tamales and
There you
tortillas for
go. There
breakfast. So
you
nothing
go.
wrong with
Yeah,
that too. Do you
not at
remember
all.
the first song you ever sang live on stage? And it could be a cover. What was it?
Um, you know, I I would say I really liked the Judds back in the
Hmm.
day, and I sang, uh, the, I can hear it. It was a Judd song. Mhm. Sitting cross-legged on the hood of a Ford, filing down my nails with an emery board.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the title of it
Love
right now.
that, really love. That was it.
That's
Love,
it.
love, true love. Yeah, that one.
One of the most iconic groups of all time, no doubt about it, too. Well, hey, I tell you what, this album is so easy and free and just kind of just almost like that. I drink a drink called like a guava, which is kind of a flower too, as well out there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful album, which I love so much. It's got everything for everybody out there. We mentioned a lot of the song titles. Make a Cowgirl, Monday Morning Town, Good Tears, which you played for us here on the show. I wanted to say thank you for just being with us and really, helping us continue this journey for great shows we're putting out there too to feature artists of all kind in country music. Best of luck to you. Happy holidays. Hope you enjoyed the visit, and let's do this again when new projects or new music come out.
I would love that, and thank you so much for all you do for artists, especially artists that are independent. It's so important to have these opportunities to share our stories. So thank you for the hard work that you do on this show, and just shout out to everybody out there listening.
You got it too. Shantell Ogden here. Of course, our thanks out to Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over there in Honky Tonk, Texas. We're back this week with some more great shows. I got more stuff coming in and I could probably shake a stick at, but we're still trying to put out great shows for you guys out there every day. So I will get a vacation, as Shantell said, to decompress at some point this weekend into next week and for the Thanksgiving holidays. We're back tomorrow too for another episode of the Backstage Pass on KKTC, which is Pure Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico and Pueblo, Colorado. And of course, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. You can also find us at hightidecountry.net. And of course, everywhere you find podcasts, we're there as the Backstage Pass. We're back tomorrow for another great show, another featured artist. Who? I don't know. You'll have to tune in to find out, too, as well on the show. Coming up there at our friends over there, KKTC Pure Country 99.9, and, of course, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com and out there, too, at hightidecountry.net. Thanks to Shantell. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the show. Have a great night.